get him out of here. He's in a thicket. 12-pointer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, I got to get to cutting. I don't have time to. We got another blizzard coming in right now. It's starting to sleet and snow. Packed out of here. That's my first 12-pointer. Okay, we're going to cape them out here. We're going to do a Y incision. Bring it back. First thing I'm going to do is I need to measure this neck though, so I know what size form to get. All right, I've done cut the lips around the mouth. I need to take a couple measurements so we know what size form to buy. Follow me along in the process. I'll make a video on how to mount this 12-pointer up. Caping one out is not really hard. The only hard part is the tear duct. You want to go around the eye with your thumb inside from the back side, but the tear duct you need to get from the inside. You need to cut the lips from the inside before you start on the back. My hardest part of the whole thing is getting the burrs. I have such a hard time getting those burrs loose. I have tried the screwdriver. I've tried everything, and that's what got most of it off. Hardest part about this, I always have a hard time with the burrs, but the tear ducts, make sure you don't tear up the tear ducts. That's the hardest part. You can make sure you get your tear ducts in there good. These are the tools I used. Most of it was done with that, like the tear ducts. Y-cut was with that. A lot of the fleshing is done with that knife. That's the gut hook I use to butcher them. I like to open them up with a gut hook. And then a Gordon's Food Supply paring knife. A lot of it's done with that. Hacksaw to cut the back of it off. Okay, once we got it all caped out, we're going to fold the ears on itself, and we're going to try and keep the hide, and we're going to fold it in on itself, and then we're going to stick it outside and let it freeze for the trip home. It'll roll up into, you want to flesh off all the meat you can. I know you see a lot of pink. That's the salt pulling the blood out. Once we get home, then we'll... But it got in the dirt, so I need to throw some salt to help control the bacteria as much as possible. Okay, guys, we have an issue here. This is the 12-pointers cape that we're going to mount up. But the issue is it's been hanging out here, draining, drying for a week or so. I do not have any freezer space. It's all full of venison. It's getting above freezing today and tomorrow and probably the rest of the week. So we're going to go ahead and mix up a pickling solution. And we're going to throw it in a pickling solution and then tan it as soon as possible. Oh, I'm going to do a video on aging deer for you guys by their jawbones. One of those is a 3.5, one's a 4.5, and then I have a 5.5, and I'm going to compare them all for you. First thing we're going to do is we are going to rinse this hide, rehydrate it and rinse it, and then we'll make us up a pickling solution, put it in it, and it can sit there for a week or two till I get around to tanning it. I still have to remove the cartilage in these ears. Okay guys, back in the first shed here. So we're going to put the deer in the pickle. We're going to leave it in here for, I don't know, a week. I got to do something with it because half of it is dried out. The other half was frozen. So I took it out front, rehydrated it, tried to rinse it a little bit, but I obviously didn't get it good enough because you see the water is getting murkier here. But anyways, this is the pickle. Here is your formula. You know I'm terrible with numbers, so I got to write it all down. Probably put too much salt in. So you want 80 ounces of salt. I put in 3 ounces of ultimate acid. You're supposed to put 2.5, but our water here is a little hard. So then I put in, I don't know if I like this stuff or not. People were recommending it. This pool salt, saying that it dissolves easier. I would not use this to salt the deer hide. Do not use this because it's almost like rock salt. But it says, oh, it dissolves so well. I don't know about that. I wanted to go ahead and video this because I am already seeing, after a matter of 10 minutes, I am seeing a color change Like I said, some of this hide was totally dried out. The other was still damp, but it's been 5 degrees outside, so I know this ammonia froze. I use that when you're doing European mounts to degrease them. I come in here a little bit when I went and got this deer hide, and the jug of ammonia was frozen. I didn't know. I left it out here sort of curious if it would freeze or not, but it definitely did. We're going to make sure it gets up in the ears, but it's going to get into the... Amy Taxidermy says do not do this below 55 because the salt will drop out of solution, which that could be true, but I have no freezer space. I don't know what else to do. So we're going to put our phone up and try and find something to put in here to push this submerge this. Okay, guys, this is taking you on the journey. Look at this hide. This has been in this pickle for 24 hours. I want you to see how the hide has all turned white and plumped up. But it's pretty cool. I mean, this acid just... I believe what the acid does, it pulls all the collagen out. That's why they tell you to oil afterwards. But I was just going to show you, video this every day. This has been, you notice how it was salted and rawhide, and it's all white now. Minimum of 3 days in this. Mackenzie says you can leave it indefinitely. We flipped it from how we had it last night. So now we flipped it, and I'm concerned about changing the pH with what I put in there. I don't want to put wood or anything that's going to react to the acid, so I don't want to put bricks or just enough weight across these two to submerge it like this. Anyways, can you get a little bit
really
closer?
don't want to see it.
Seriously.
Cam, I'm eating my dinner.
So I tried using a scalpel, and the pickle just dulls it so fast in the salt, and it's almost useless in a matter of minutes. And I'm back to my paring knife that I talk about so well. I don't have a fleshing beam because I don't do this professionally. We're trying to shave this down so we can tan it tomorrow. My tanning beam of choice is a Miller light bottle. It actually works great. I've used PVC pipe and all kinds of stuff, but I just like this right here better. So we're trying to shave this down and thin it and get rid of any of that membrane that was still left over from fleshing. That is a beer bottle there. Works great. But one thing I've noticed is these scalpels, this is fresh out of the pickle, and they don't last long before they get all corroded. I mean, the edge just erodes away. I have started using that one more for shaving. This one's more for fleshing. That works better for shaving. But for the main hide here, that's what I'm using. I just sharpen it with sandpaper. Anyways, we are going to tan it in the morning. We're going to let it soak overnight. Every time you do any kind of shaving, you need to put it back in the pickle. I think I'm going to mix up some more pickle and just rinse this real good because we got a lot of debris. And this was all dirt from when I caped it out. And I mean, it's in that fascia, and I'm having a heck of a time getting that clean. But there was a lot of dirt when I caped this thing out on the ground in the woods. That's what that is dirt that's just soaked into the fascia. So I'm trying to shave that all off. Tomorrow we'll neutralize this and put our Mackenzie tan on it. Okay guys, I was going to show you something. Nobody talks about this on any of the videos, and I don't know if it's going to show up. These scalpels were used for about 30 minutes shaving. These were brand new scalpel blades. And look what that pickle did to them in that amount of time. And I have to use a needle nose pliers to change the scalpel blade, right? And I also tried to use this to pull the cartilage out of the ears. That was a brand new blade after about 30 minutes of trying to shave that hide. That's what that pickle does. It's not just the safety acid to get your pH between 1 and 1.5. Remember, there's also 5 pounds of salt in the 5 gallons of water. I've fleshed deer hides that have been salted, and they do not, that'll dull your blade, but it doesn't do that kind of corrosion. But anyways, that's what I'm noticing is my blade does not, that edge does not stay sharp for very long at all. There's a chemical, look at that. Look at that. As you're trying to shave the hide with a sharp scalpel, look at that rust. So I don't know, maybe there's stainless steel blades. I don't know. I mean, I'm just using, these are all carbon steel, and they just don't last. I mean, 10 minutes. Okay, we need to neutralize this hide. So we're going to add 4 heaping tablespoons to 4 gallons of water. Why do they have to make stuff so hard sometimes? The wind is blowing so bad. I think I'll add an extra one. You need to stir this up really well. It's no longer 10 degrees out here, it's like 40. So we're going to do some of this outside. But to actually apply the tanning solution, we're going to go do that inside. But we got to get the baking soda dissolved here. Make sure you empty the ears really good. An old trick I used to use when I used to do deer hides a lot for buckskin and stuff is you can actually get a big stick and ring it. Okay, now we're going to put it in here. Put it in here for a minimum of 30 minutes, probably 45, to neutralize it. I want to get all that safety acid neutralized. All this thing's cold. It's still getting down into freezing at night. So that water in that pickle tub is really cold, so hence the hide is really cold. Got a bunch of air bubbles in the hide. Alright, I need to go look at a clock. And with any of this stuff, one of the most important things is to keep it moving. Don't just put it in there and leave it. You need to, just like when you pour the salt in or the baking soda earlier here, you noticed it didn't move, right? It wasn't dissolving till you moved it around. Well, it's the same thing with this, just like your clothes in a washing machine. You need to agitate it. Okay, we pull on it, we squeegee it, we do everything we can to get as much water as we can out of here. We're going to let it drip dry, and we might towel some of it off. We're going to let it sit there for a while. Then we're going to take it in and tan it. Last time I tried to tan something, I did it in a basement, and it was like 60 degrees, and the tan just wasn't taking like it should. So I think the best thing you can do is use a towel. I mean, I had to let this thing hang for a couple hours, and it is still sopping wet. So what we're going to use is McKinsey's tan. What I've always used in the past was Tan It by Tandy Leather, but you can't buy it anymore. So we're going to give this a try. Some advice is we want to tan this side first where our Y cut's at, because what I noticed when I was drying this, when you fold this back over, all this wet hair will end up on top of there. So I would rather tan all this around the Y cut and everything, and then flip it so this side is down, and then we do the face and everything and we fold it back on itself. But we want to keep this hair is still wet, and we don't want to just fold it over and put the wet hair right there. When I caped this out, it was midnight. I was deep in the woods, didn't know exactly where I was at. I was just butchering it. I didn't realize, I'm like, after I got done butchering it and I was fixing to cut the head off, I'm like, well, what the heck? It's midnight, everybody else is in bed. You might as well cape the thing out. And since this was a 12 pointer, I decided to go ahead and put it out and mount it, because my walls are full of 10 pointers and I don't have room for any more. Now, like I said, in the past I used Tandy's Tan It. And I'm not a big fan of paintbrushes, so I just thought I'd try it, because you'll see me in a minute. I'll be getting, when I get to the face and stuff, I'll be using my hands to work it in real good. Okay, now for the fun part. I don't know, I have to apologize, guys. You guys probably can't see what I'm doing. I'm probably totally in the way. Okay, it's been like an hour, so we're going to flip it over. We're going to go over it one more time really good, and then we're going to flip it over. Now we want to go around and cover this so it doesn't dry out on us. Just like that. And we be done. Okay, after we finish tanning it, we're going to wrap it in plastic and we're going to let it sit overnight. Then we need to freeze it because I have to order the form. This is just a drop cloth plastic, but we want to keep it from drying out too fast, and then we're going to put it in the freezer. We need to measure this hide because we need to order a form. See, all this stuff is from when I was fleshing it and put it back in the pickle. Grub all that out and wash it. So 1/2 inch difference between measuring it this way and measuring it that way. Some of it has, I think, to do with that seam being down there. So you need to order that is going to be, you don't want to oversize your cape because, like I said, it is going to shrink. Since this is already covered in pan, we're going to go ahead and another one of those tasks that you really need 3 hands for, huh? Alright. Get out as much air as you can.